You guys, writing month is here. It's here. It's like this week.
Wrapping paper, labels, everything that you need here to wrap word count gifts, which I'm doing this year, and I'm decorating my little tree. I'm so excited. A peek at my little tree. Whee! So cute. And this is the spot that I determined I'm going to place it so I can see it every day. Gonna take down my Harry Potter pins just for this month and put up my little tree right here. The last thing is to wrap the Writer's Count gifts. I'm so excited here. I am kind of closing my eyes as my boyfriend wraps my gifts so that I don't know what's inside them, even though I picked them out. And here's my little cute tree. All of my little wrap gifts are right underneath it so I can see it every day and be motivated to write and hit those word counts. But you're here to watch me write, so here's day one. I started using my live writing Pomodoros just to kind of get me a little bit started. I like to play my soundtrack over it so I can get completely in the zone. And I got writing on my first chapter. One of the most important things for me is making sure that on my chapters, I've got quick tabs that I can go to. So I'm dragging and dropping over into my bookmarks section anything that's relevant to this chapter so that I can quick access it. Then I got started in adding more words by pretty much just adding in detail. So if you're ever stuck, just think about what kind of detail you can add to a scene. It completely helps me get through some of the writing block and get words onto the page. That worked for the first day. The second day was a completely different story. I admit it took me a lot longer to get down any kind of words. I did a lot of sort of rereading to myself. Yes, that's sort of editing when you're supposed to be writing, but it does actually help me get words onto the page. So if editing helps you just knock out additional descriptions or fill in certain things or go back and add a sort of setup to your first chapter, your second chapter, whatever chapter you're on, reread and try to edit a little bit. Editing for me can look like I subtract 5 words, I add in 10 to 20 more words because I'm describing something new in the scene that I hadn't thought about until I reread it. But of course, by the end of the day, I pretty much get super drained. And day 2 had not gone exactly as planned. I really didn't get that much writing in, but maybe tomorrow would be better.
Today is day 3 of writing month, and I'm only about 1,600 words in. Mostly because I hit a snag yesterday where I couldn't get past just writing this one portion of my first chapter. It was supposed to be a letter from my main character. I can't even think of my main character's name. Brain is not working. Ugh. Anne-Marie. My main character, Lady Anne-Marie, was writing to her sister, last minute changing the name of her sister just because I had nothing else to do. Like, I couldn't get past writing this letter to her. This letter is a new change because I had to go back and write in some details about my main character, Lady Anne-Marie, having been poisoned or feeling sick all of a sudden with her new husband abroad, so that, you know, I can kind of set up that whole thing in the very beginning. So I guess I kind of am thinking too much about how I'm setting that up. I'm gonna kind of settle down with water, and I'm gonna do some writing sprints around 2 to 4. My region is having a Zoom write-in as well, so then 2 to 4 I'll probably be forcing myself to write with other people. And then for the next few days, I've got things lined up outside of the house where I can kind of feel like I'm getting outside, because right now I work from home on the weekends, so yeah. So I get a little bit like stir crazy when I'm inside all day. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And I will probably also be using my own live video that I launched in October so that I can have timed writing sprints to tell me when to take a break and when to keep going and stuff. So that's how it's going, Scribes.
5 or so hours later, did I just eat? Did I write? Comment down below.
Okay, you guys. I am officially trying to do laundry instead of write. And when I was writing the letter out, I had to use so much of that sort of variation of Old English and make it sound as if she was also kind of in a way info dump, which, okay, not great to info dump, but in a way kind of give some backstory, some context to what's going to come up in the next scene, and set up some things so that they can later on kind of pay off. I'm about 2,000, a little over 2,000 words in, 2,000 and some hundred words in on day 3. The next 2 days coming up are my days off, so I'm hoping to really be able to sit down and concentrate on things and get out of the house and get some things free flowing. So we'll see. Hello, Scribes. It is November 4th. It is 4 days into the writing month, and I'm basically at about 2198 words into my manuscript. I'm not very far, but I'm almost one chapter in. I think I was going to settle with about 2,500 words per chapter. I'm aiming to get to 85K. I know it's a big stretch. Most people just go for the standard 50K, and 50K is my minimum goal, basically. So at least 50K will be what I make it to. If I get to more than that, even better. We will see how that goes, because I have a full feature film that I'm working on outlining and possibly writing at the same time. But I'm really excited about working on this feature film with my friend who's planning on directing it himself and shooting it next year, so I definitely want to still stay on his timeline. You can see back here I do have my little Bookmas tree kind of set up for writing month a little bit early. We're gonna get a full-size tree this year, so this tree was kind of going unused. I also have some of the gifts that my boyfriend wrapped for me, so that I don't know what is for what word count, because I didn't want to know, because I pretty much picked out my own on my Etsy and then purchased them ahead of time. And once they got in, I left them in their packages, and then my boyfriend went ahead and wrapped them for me. I used to buy a box that came with gifts that were surprises for you, and it was by Rachel Bateman. She is an author. She no longer does that because she's got a very busy life, and she's running her own company and doing her own things, as well as writing her own books. So I definitely had to kind of come up with my own this year. And some of the things that I've been kind of struggling with lately has been, I've set my very first chapter, very first few chapters first of all, I'm in a period piece setting, so about 1815 Regency era, and I started off in China, and I'm still kind of getting little details that I may have missed in my research, even though I did an overall research deep dive. There's still little fragments that I just quite didn't get. So I am making sure that I have them written into the few details in the very beginning of the book. I know, don't get hampered down by it, but I think that I'm getting into this weird perfectionist mode where I'm how can I make this the best in the first draft? Don't be like me. I wanted her to have detail. I wanted Anne-Marie, my main character, to have these details of feeling sick and being isolated and loving her new husband and all these things, so that when she gets to her inciting incident and then leaves China and jumps on a ship to England, because her husband is being all completely different than what she married, and she thinks he's poisoning her, she can easily jump ship, and the readers aren't this came out of nowhere. So I've been trying to put those little subtle hints in now, and this time I kind of wanted to be as like tight with this draft as I can. I've also been struggling with the motivation to write, because what happens is if I don't know what's going to happen next, even though I have it pretty well defined what's supposed to happen next, there are some details that lead you to those major scenes or major moments, and I'm working them out. What happens is, for me, I get a little bit of, personally, I end up getting writer's block in that type of moment. And that's what stops me from writing. And that's where the rigorous plotting has come in for me to be like the most beneficial. So that's why I do it. The neurodivergence in me wants to go watch TV and not come back to this, which I have been finding new things to watch, and it's like, ooh, something new that I can fill the time with instead of write. So I'm trying not to do that, and that's very tough. The next few days, it's November 4th, so the next few days I'm going to have off. There are write-ins going on, like in person, physically, in my region, so I'm gonna go to them. I'm new to this region, so it's going to be different because I have to meet new people. We'll see if Tuesday I go back to my old region, drive down that way, and maybe meet up with some of them and see them. My plan today is to do the math and figure out how much I have to catch up on, because I am usually much further by this time. So I just want to see a little bit more tracking wise where I should be, how many words do I need to do to catch up. I'm not too worried because I tend to write more when I get to like the bigger scenes. So the first few scenes might feel a little bit more like trudging through water, and then I will pick it up as I get to the scenes that I'm actually interested in, which will be coming up soon. So I have been using my own live writing videos to kind of jump in to whatever Pomodoro is already going. And so you may see me there every so often. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves, or just drop something for me to see during the day, and I will get back to it because I've been seeing some comments. They do reset at the end of the day, so our comments will be lost by the end of the day, but I hope that you guys enjoy it. Let me know if you do enjoy it. Go check it out if you haven't checked it out. It is my writing sprints in Ambrose Cottage. Ambrose is the last name for my main character, the love interest, Nathaniel Ambrose, and so I basically have a cottage named for him to kind of keep me excited about writing month. And you can go check it out if you'd like to. It's a writing space. There's 24/7 Pomodoro timers running throughout the whole time that video will be live, and it's got breaks scheduled in as well. Okay, Scribes, I'm gonna get back to writing today, and
after some writing in the house, I decided that it was time to pack up and go on a little adventure to go write with other writers, which usually helps me out of my funk. So I ended up here at this beautiful place where I got quite a bit of words in. Of course, it helps that it looks like it's straight out of Harry Potter. Another really big thing that helped me on day 4 was chatting with writers, explaining a little bit of what I was stuck on, and being able to sort of work through it even in silence with other people near me, which is why I highly recommend Writers Group, especially for writing month.
it is November 5th. November 5th.
Sometimes you have to recharge the creative battery and juices, so I went to Barnes & Noble. I'd wanted to stop here for quite a long time, and I decided to go in and look for specifically a journal. Although I didn't quite find the one that I was looking for, I did find some really cool ones. While I was there, I got to actually peek at these really cool Bridgerton sort of restylized covers, and they are 2 books in one, which was kind of cool. Before I rounded out my errands with going to just pick up some groceries. At night, I was off to the library. They were hosting a write-in with other regional, local. I got to sit downstairs for a little bit and get some words in before it actually kicked off that event. And while I was still pretty behind, I was still feeling pretty good. Okay, I'm doing some calculations here because it's day 6 and I need to catch up. I am actually behind. I should be at 10K. I am not. Doing some quick math, I was able to figure out that I need to do about 390 words per hour for 10 hours. It kind of was a slow day. I had the luxury to do it, and I was able to really get in some words, even though I was completely struggling. Look, I have my days where I struggle. And this was a hard day. Trying to get in about 3K more words, I believe, was really hard for me, and I stuck it out. I really did try to stick it out. I'm lucky that during any downtime, I was able to get some words in. I was lucky that if I had something come in, I could take care of it pretty quickly, but it wasn't quite enough because when I got home, I still wasn't at 10K. I was doing under the 300 words per hour, so I was still pretty behind. I'm also kind of pushing the boyfriend into a November challenge where he has to write 2 songs for the month as a songwriter, and so I probably made him also stick it out with me when I had to write that night.
You look like you're part of the tortured poets department. Back to my own.
The motivation pushed me through. I made it to 10K and a little bit over. I was done. I could finally open my 10K gift. My 10K gift was a beautiful fountain pen that sort of fit the genre that I'm working on this writing month. I pulled the comeback of the century. Hopefully I can do it next week.